Today, I'm gonna talk about how I set up the Arig.
This whole thing he's attached to.
The Arig is an extremely effective bait. It has big drawing power and can bring fish in from a great distance. It mimics a school of bait fish, which can be an easy meal for predator fish to sweep through and grab the baits. I throw the Arig mainly for largemouth bass and spotted bay bass. It can be fished in shallow water and also in deeper waters when those fish are suspended or off the bottom. The Arig is an extremely versatile bait that you can set up for your fishing needs or your fishery. I'm here in California, and the rules you need to know about fishing the Arig in 2021 are simple. Freshwater, you can have 3 hooks. If you have a 5-arm Arig, 2 of those baits need to be some sort of dummy bait, and then 3 can be hooks. And for saltwater, there really is no stated regulation for how many hooks can be on an Arig. So most guys run 5 hooks on their Arig in saltwater. Now the only area in which you can't have an Arig on your line in California saltwater is if you have a rockfish on board. And that's because rockfish can only be taken by 2 hook maximum. An Arig would break that rule. That's the rules as we know it in California. Fresh 3, saltwater 5. If you guys are fishing this in a different state, please look into the regulations on how to set up the Arig properly so you don't break any laws when fishing this bait. We currently have 2 style WARBAITS Arigs. One is a 5-arm Deluxe blade featuring 8 blades. This thing draws a lot of strikes, has a lot of flash, a lot of vibration, and really brings those fish in from great distance. The second is our standard 5-arm Arig. It's a bare Arig, so you can set it up the way you want. Both Arigs feature a 1/2 ounce head on the front, and I do prefer to have a little weight on the front of our Arigs. I think it has better castability and it's able to get in the water column of your choice with more precision. You can sink it out a little easier. If you wanted to fish 20, 30 foot of water mid-column, you can do that easily with this Arig. How do I set it up? What heads do I use on the back of these Arigs? Let me show you right now. First, let's talk about the Deluxe Blades 5-arm Arig. You always want this bait to run true and centered. With these 2 dummy blades on top, the Arig will always run upright and not twist in a helicopter motion. This leaves 3 slots open for hooked baits. I either run all 1/4 ounce WARBAITS swim bait heads on the 3 open hook slots, or I'll run 2 3/8 ounce WARBAITS swim bait heads on the bottom 2. Now by running the heavier swim bait heads on the bottom 2, this gives the Arig an anchor point. So you always have the heaviest part running at the bottom. You have the blades running at the top. This will always bring the Arig true and straight through the water. This is beneficial because you always want to have a great looking presentation when fishing a lure and trying to catch smart predator fish. The Deluxe bladed Arig is extremely successful, and it's highly recommended for both freshwater and saltwater. The 5-arm Arig is extremely versatile. You can run a variety of different style baits to give the right presentation for your fishery and your style of fishing. Now this has 5 arms and 5 open slots for lures. I like to run 3 WARBAITS 1/4 ounce swim bait heads on the top 2 arms and the middle. And on the bottom 2 arms, I run WARBAITS swim bait heads either in 3/8 ounce or 1/2 ounce. Again, this is going to center the rig when it's going through the water column. The heavier baits are going to be on the bottom so that the rest of the rig can swim upright. You want it to be running straight and true like a school of bait fish. And the colors for the swim bait heads, I typically run baitfish color swim bait heads because that's what I'm mimicking here, is a school of bait fish, and that also translates into the color swim baits I use. Most of them are brighter colored bait fish swim baits, and I typically have them in a variety of sizes from 3 inches to 4 inches. Now to talk about the retrieve on the A-Rig, it can definitely be casted out and wound straight back to get those bites. I like to throw in a variety of twitches from the reel handle, pops from the rod tip, just to get the swim baits flashing, the blades moving, to get more action in that A-Rig. A lot of times bass will follow that A-Rig on a steady wind, and once you give it a pop, that's when they attack. It's a reaction strike. You've just created a reaction, you're getting that bass triggered, and then he's gonna go and bite it. And if you do get a bite and you load that fish up, I typically just start grinding the reel at a steady pace in hopes that another one jumps on, because that's the name of the game, is to get more than one fish on this lure. Now my setup for the A-Rig is a very similar rod and reel combination that I would use for swim bait fishing. I use an 8-foot swim bait rod. This is a Phoenix Ultra Swim Bait USB-C 800H. That C makes it a bit more parabolic than the standard graphite rod, so it makes casting the A-Rig a little bit easier. I use the Shimano Curado 300 high gear. I have a Tranx 300 power handle on it. I'm fishing 50-pound Power Pro braided line, and I do use a leader of no less than 25-pound fluorocarbon. You definitely want something comfortable in hand all day, and you want to be able to have the power to cast the A-Rig easily, and then when you do get multiple catches, you can swing them over the rail with ease. I want to thank you guys for all the support you're giving WARBAITS and this channel. It's all because of you. If you want to find these A-Rigs, we have them on warbaits.com. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section and I'll get back to those. And as always, get out there, go fish and hook that giant.
WARBAITS A-Rig, we're out here searching for him. Ah, get him in, get him in. Oh yeah, that's a good bite on the A-Rig. Solid fish, look at that. Solid A-Rig eater, boy. Look at this whole thing he's attached to. That's A-Rig fishing. Beauty right there. Get him in. Yeah, that was a good bite right there. Good bite, good fish. One thing, after a while with these A-Rigs, you're gonna wanna retie. Any type of big, heavy bait that you're constantly throwing, you're putting a lot of pressure on that knot and that line. The one thing you don't wanna have is it snap off. So it's good to retie, you know, every 30 casts or so. Get a fresh knot in there. Let's get back to fishing. That's a good one. That's a good one, guys. Wow. Wow. Smacked the crap out of it. And he choked it. That's sick. That is sick. Dude, boy had it choked.